Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is SK and in this video, I'm gonna be making some French onion soup. But the catch is, I am not French and I absolutely hate onions. So this should be great. Will I actually like onions by the end of this? Probably not. Will I cause myself unnecessary stress and hate myself? Absolutely. So without further ado, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. So on the menu today we have French onion soup, and if you haven't tried it before, it's basically supposed to be like a very savory, oniony kind of soup that's served with very expensive cheese and a baguette. Very French if you ask me. Haha, oui oui. So surprisingly, I've never actually tried this onion abomination before. For obvious reasons, but I decided, hey, why not give it a go? Not for my entertainment, but for yours. So before we begin, you might have a few questions. Like, for example, SK, why do you hate onions so much? Well, let me explain. Number 1, why would I want to eat a vegetable that physically assaults me? Doesn't make any sense. Number 2, onions make you cry. Alright, I am what you might call an emotionally constipated person. So you gotta understand that these tears that come out of my eyeballs are already limited. Finally, number 3, onions just suck. That's about it, really. So let us begin this onion journey together, starting with all the ingredients that we need for this soup. So first up on the list we have our onions. Wow, what a surprise. Who would have thought? Not me. Here I'm using some large yellow onions, and when I went to the grocery store, I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure I looked like a crazy person whose diet only consisted of yellow onions. How absolutely tragic. Next we have some herbs in the form of some thyme, which is supposed to enhance the aroma and flavor of the soup. And haha, look at that, a thyme joke. Haha, shut up. Next for the cheese we have some Gruyere cheese, which I found out was pretty expensive and smelled a lot like my favorite genre of music, which was funky. Next for the liquids we have some stock and also some dry white wine. Whoa, the alcoholics have just entered the building. The wine I'll be using is a nice Sauvignon Blanc, and oh, you want some? You want some? No, because it's all for me. Finally, we have a nice long baguette. And I mean, who doesn't love bread that can do damage to both your enemies and also your weighing scale? Alright, so all the ingredients have been acquired. Let us move on to the next part, which is preparing our onions. And oh boy, we're in for a treat. So to start, I got my chopping board, and first I would actually like to apologize to you because you're staring right at my crotch. Absolutely great camera work from yours truly. So I first grabbed my 10 onions, and first thing I noticed was that they actually came in different shapes and sizes. So I thought to myself, hey, this could be a great analogy for life. Alright, hear me out. People are like onions, you know, we all come in different shapes and sizes. We all have layers to us, you know, complex layers of feelings and emotions. But then you also remember that we absolutely suck, alright, we suck. We're the worst of the worst, absolutely. So to chop my onions, I chop them like how everyone else does it, which is basically just chop it in half, peel off the skin, and then to chop it, we're actually not going to chop it this way, we're actually going to chop it this way. And basically by doing this, we're basically using the layers of the onions to our advantage, so that you end up with nice little strands. So next, I got to chopping, and realistically this whole process should take you around 10 to 15 minutes to get through everything. But obviously times may vary due to things such as absolute incompetence. Oh boy. So after chopping the onions for about 5 minutes, I started to get quite emotional, you know. So after getting a bit emotional, I realized I actually do have a way to stop the crying. But it involves me looking like this. Yeah. Oh well. Okay, as much as I do like wearing these, I also do realize that I also look like a serial killer. Alright, so now that I have the proper protection, I decided, hey, why not listen to some music to pass the time, get some tunes going. But you see, the problem with that is that as a person, I kind of get distracted very easily. Alright, so onions have been chopped. Time to move on to our next step, which is to caramelize the onions. So to caramelize the onions, I got a big pot and lubed it up nicely with butter and oil and got all my onions into it. Next, I salted the onions generously, and you might be wondering, SK, why are you salting the onions? What does that do? Well, haha, this can be explained with science. So this whole process of adding salt is called osmosis. Osmosis is a scientific process that... Wait, hold on. Osmosis is the scientific process of the diffusion of solvent molecules from an area of high water potential to an area of low water potential. So what the hell does this mean? So essentially, in this situation, our solvent molecules are the water molecules that are inside the onion, and by adding salt, you're pretty much making the water potential inside the onions be greater than the water potential outside the onions. When this happens, the water inside the onions want to, get out. So doing this basically just speeds up the whole caramelization process because you get the water out of the onions faster. Wow, science. So moving on, remember how I said salting the onions is supposed to speed up the process? Well, when you're trying to caramelize 10 onions, it still takes very long. This whole process took me about 3 hours. 3 hours of just standing there and stirring. Actually, not even standing. I actually got tired after a while and decided to get a chair and sit down. While sitting there, I also got quite bored, so I decided to ask my Instagram what they thought would end first. The onions caramelizing or my will to live. And safe to say, everyone had great confidence in me. So with the power of editing, this is what the whole caramelization process looks like. So that is in edited form, but if you're wondering what it looked like in real time, let me introduce you to the 5 stages of onion caramelization. It really can't take that long, alright? It's just onions. It won't take that long. What the f are you taking so long? You stupid ass onion ass. Really, if you finish in the next half an hour, I won't say anything bad about onions ever again. Why are you taking so long? I'm going to die right here. So now that our onions are caramelized, it is time to now deglaze with our white wine. So I poured some in, scraped up all the good bits, and if you've made French onion soup before, you know that you're not supposed to do this. I forgot to add flour. So next I added in my stock and brought everything up to a boil. And while that was going on, I decided to do my best impression of Mr. Grey from 50 Shades of Grey and tie up a few sprigs of thyme. So into the soup went the thyme bundle, some pepper, some soy sauce for some umami boost, and some salt. So next I prepared my baguette by slicing it into a few small pieces and lubing it up nicely with some olive oil. And oh look, we're back at it again with the crotch angle. I am so sorry. So into the oven my baguettes went while I grated some cheese. And beware, we are using a lot of it. So if you're lactose intolerant, just close your eyes, honestly. So once your baguette slices are nice and golden brown, make sure to have a few pieces because you have absolutely no self-control and it's finally time to serve. So into the bowl went my soup. It ended up having a terrible brown color, but don't worry, it's supposed to look like that. Then I topped my soup with the baguette and a nice mound of the cheese. Into the oven it went, and once it was all melted and nice and bubbly, I garnished with a few pieces of thyme, and it was finally time for the taste test.
Actually tastes pretty good. Doesn't really taste like onion, even though it's full of onions. It just tastes like really savory. For taste, I would give it 7 out of 10 for effort to make it, and wanting to end myself, 10 out of 10.